Welcome to In Good Order, the podcast for financial professionals looking to scale with confidence and clarity. That's IGO in Good Order. I'm Ben Braverman, Senior Consultant at SMS Financial Solutions, and now it's time to get in good order. Today, we're joined by Sydney Cullen Lawrence, who's an expert when it comes to LinkedIn marketing and social media marketing. Sydney is the founder of Insurance Brand Builder, and she's going to help us unpack the what, the why, and the how of organic LinkedIn growth. So Sydney, give us a little background on your journey and your business.
My journey into LinkedIn started because I wanted to deliver real value at zero cost. Leveraging a skill set I naturally had, organic marketing and content creation, and making those kind of pair hand in hand. I specialize in helping insurance professionals find and amplify their unique voice. That could mean helping someone build visibility within the branding of their employer or creating a personal brand entirely from scratch.
So organic LinkedIn presence. I'm an advisor with 300 connections and no plan. Or I've told this story before. I used to work for a Fortune 100 distribution company in the annuity mutual fund and life insurance space. They managed our LinkedIns, and it's hilarious. To this day, I'm connected to 40 to 50 individuals. We all say the same holidays. We all give the same inspirational quote. I made complete lack of authenticity. Obviously, now I manage my own LinkedIn, and I'm hoping to learn how to do that even better. But advisor has 300 connections. He or she has no plan. Where do they even start?
I think first, you want to make sure that your LinkedIn profile immediately speaks to your target client, your A+ rated client, so that you can clearly identify what keeps them up at night. You're showing exactly how it feels when you solve those problems in a way that no one else can, right? And then next, you get clear on who you're targeting. You use AI tools to develop client personas. So maybe you're feeding in some information from your book to see, what businesses you presently resonate with and where you'd like to push forward. Use AI to develop those client personas and then understand who you're speaking to, their interests, so that you can kind of put a face to a goal. And you're not just speaking to everyone, you're speaking to exactly the person you want to. You have to remember that LinkedIn is a computer that is using your posts as code input to connect you to viewers who will also find that content stimulating. So then finally creating content that is targeted to those personas and then posting it regularly and making sure that it's an aid to education and that it adds value and it's not just a pitch.
This is the second episode in a row, which an expert like yourself has talked about this really important idea of a client persona and working with the people you want to work with. Because I think in the insurance space, in the advisory space, in the AUM space, in the brokerage space, day one, I'll talk to anybody that fogs a mirror. Get me in front of somebody. But you're going to, if you're being your authentic self and you know who you're looking for, and that's an interesting idea to create your client avatar with AI and then back into the language accordingly. But you're going to attract more than you repel by being your authentic self, because you're going to find those individuals that you actually want to work with and they're going to stay more sticky.
Yeah, I have clients that are worried that if they directly target a job profile or whatever the case is, that it will then isolate other people that they are trying to target. I don't feel it's the case, because if you're giving good information and you're educating overall, then the job title you slapped on the front isn't going to matter. But it is going to pop a CFO's attention if they see that you often speak to CFOs. You can apply this to anything, insurance brokers, whatever you'd like.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So if I'm an advisor and I specifically am looking to work with medical professionals, or I'm looking to work with federal employees, there's an avatar. And then from there, you're going to back into a language. Is avatar a fair use of language? Does that work for non-traditional, what I've started to call marketing outside of the TradFi space, traditional financial marketing, and moving into social media and multi-channel marketing. So the biggest mistake you're seeing advisors making right now on
Mhm.
LinkedIn, I alluded to some that I think I was doing myself or on behalf of the organization I previously worked with, which was that canned content. And one other thing to touch on the profile real quick, you want the profile to speak to your client. So
Mhm. Directly stating their pain points in your profile and how you solve it, because you have to think about what they're going to search in the LinkedIn search bar. So, by training those avatars with a language model to figure out what they most likely search, you can then use that information against them to make content that aids them.
this is great. So, because I think what you're alluding to is another mistake that we all make relative to our LinkedIn profiles at this point in the game, so to speak. This is not a resume and it shouldn't read like one. We're not being interviewed in that capacity. People are looking for commonality with their pain point in order that you can solve.
Absolutely. Yeah, you wanna resonate to what they're looking for, because you have to figure this is like a free ad for you. So you wanna talk about the services that you provide that they might be looking for. You wanna speak to their feelings. So, like, my client specifically wanna go to less meetings, right? And meet more people that are going to say yes right away. They wanna build that trust before they've even walked through the door, and the way that you can do that is by showing people who you are remotely through LinkedIn.
Fantastic. And you talk about LinkedIn as a lead generator, as opposed to this is a way to nurture existing leads, which that might be part of
Mhm.
the package as well. But you specifically talk about it as a lead generator, which is why one of the reasons I was excited to talk to you today. So, what is the difference between someone who posts and hopes, or as I say, posts then ghosts, doesn't
Mhm.
engage, doesn't try to get the algorithm going because engagement is important versus the brokers, the insurance advisors? I mean, the vertical is almost irrelevant, which I really like getting to that point where we're talking about marketing and not just, well, I'm marketing for annuities or I'm marketing for Medicare. If you can be good at marketing, you're going to lock it in either way. You could be marketing for PNC for all I care. Yes, some are guaranteed fixed rate issued commodities, some are small dollars, some are huge dollar. But the algorithm, if you're targeting the correct personas, is going to be fundamentally the same. So I'm a little caffeinated this morning. I'll stop my yammering and throw the ball to you. What is the difference between someone who posts and hopes and someone who actually generates leads?
Utilizing your analytics and tracking them avidly. So, not just going in 24 hours after your post to see who's engaged and to see how many followers you have. Really using this information over the course of time to see what posts perform well, what about them perform well, and how we can use that information as leverage for the next posts. So the biggest difference is the folks that are posting and ghosting are using it as a one time quick way to share. People that are using this as a tool are showing up every day, they're giving their best, and they're using this as a chance to show that they're part of a professional ecosystem, contributing meaningfully to that ecosystem. And that's crucial. You can't be on social media and not be social. And there's a very fine line, kind of, between where LinkedIn lives in Facebook and, let's say, Indeed, right? We have to kind of figure out where we fit in this and make our own persona and then use that to attract our leads.
You can't be on social media without being genuinely social.
Those different interactions, the different engagements that you have, keeping spreadsheets of this information and not jumping on the first time that someone engages with you, but kind of paying attention to what they're looking at so that you can deliver more of it. And then your value's already proved. You don't have to ask. And I can't explain to you how many times this has worked. People reach out to me for meetings that I've never even met, don't follow me, just saw me comment on a thought leader's post, and they were like, "Oh, I have to talk to this person more." So it's just really important to actually use the entire system, not just use it as a way to broadcast your thoughts and leave.
Do you recommend agents leverage the LinkedIn, pay the extra fee for the higher level of analytics versus just looking at the impressions?
Absolutely, yes, because you also get access to LinkedIn Learning. And I can't speak highly enough about what LinkedIn Learning can do for a professional who cares about self education and wants to be better but doesn't know where to start. It spans from financial literacy, accounting basics, I mean, cybersecurity, anti data breach stuff, anything you could think of. So you can get into the minds of your clients as well. So if you know what they're Googling and most worried about, you can then also connect them to videos that might be of resource. And you can see what thought leaders other people are following so that you can like copy the right cat.
How much time should an advisor be realistically spending on LinkedIn? I mean, hopefully, most of my listeners know to at least have a content calendar. My general rule of thumb, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Cindy, 4 posts a week, one of which is personals, 3 to 1. And by personal, something that lets people know, as I say, that I'm not an annuity robot. What are your thoughts on some of those metrics or guidelines?
I think if you're really ready to make the plunge into LinkedIn and you are ready to execute your content calendar, that's great. If we're talking about for an advisor that's starting at 300 followers, that might feel a bit much. So I would definitely agree with you on putting together a content calendar. I would batch out whatever kind of content your AI says performs best for your different personas, right? And then I would figure out what self interest those personas have. And I would make content that directly relates to that because they know about you, what you advertise. So you want to show how you connect with these people in an organic way and show them that you're a real person. I'd say once a week on a scheduled post and batching out your content monthly so that you have, at least 4 solid posts, and then you're engaging once a day for at least 10 minutes with the thought that I'm leaving thoughtful comments, not congratulations or great to see you in your new role, like really breaking out and saying a thoughtful solution to a common industry issue or, giving your alternative thoughts on someone's opinion based post, something like that, where it gets someone's gears turning.
And is that the number one habit that really separates advisors who win on LinkedIn versus those who are just spinning their wheels?
Yeah, absolutely. Just showing up as yourself and then showing up consistently so that people know that you're serious about it.
And I'm an enormous fan of AI. I've been using
Mm.
ChatGPT since it came out. Is there a specific model that you have found when you prompt it for these types of client personas has worked particularly well?
I don't love the 5.0 right now. I mostly run at 4.5 because it seems to generate the most thought coherently without giving a lot of lag time. And then I would just make different isolated chats that you then label with your client personas and then have one for yourself as well so that you can track your own stats and your different posts to see what went well, how we can use like an agile approach to creating a content calendar that actually works. Because the LinkedIn algorithm changes a lot, actually. And we're looking at a different engagement pattern now than we were 6 months ago. So you have to kind of stay on top of it. You don't want to schedule too far out.
And that's also the reason that you should probably leverage an expert. One more thing on, well, potentially last thing on AI, and I'm willing to sometimes disagree with my guests here, but I'm going to guess that you're going to say, don't just let the AI bot, the chat bot, write your posts, or no.
I'm going to say the best way to use a bot is to refine the prompt over and over again and to follow other industry leaders who talk about how to create content that captures engagement and feed all of this information into your bot. Constantly be giving it new stuff and tell it the date because your bot doesn't always know what day it is because it'll think that it's a Friday and it's a Tuesday or that the 4th is actually next month. So make sure when you're going in, especially if it's like a time sensitive issue, that you're letting the bot know that because they are trying to keep it on the dumber side, I think, to slow down processing time.
I know some of my advisors might be thinking, well, I can't feed up the bot personal information, but I don't think that's what we're suggesting here. We're talking about creating a
Mhm.
persona. So I'm going to go back to that doctor, that federal worker. Is it by creating that persona, we can find out, is that persona more likely to engage or to be interested or to click on an article about the Fed raising interest rates or a personal video where I'm explaining the implications of the Fed raising interest rates, or neither, just a quick blurb on, hey, here's a link to an article on the Fed raising interest rates, and here's what the implications are for your personal finance.
Yeah, and copy that link and just say, "These are my thoughts really quick," right? And then watch it kind of put it together in a more eloquent way, and then you can still coach it and say, "This is not how I would actually talk." You can show it text messages between you and, people who you feel like the tone matches, and you can also coach it just on tone. You can say, "I want this more humorous. I need it shorter. I need it to fit within this character limit." You can use the restrictions of the algorithm with your AI to create content that will perform best. The thing I would say is if you buy the business level of chat, which is what I have, you have an encrypted cloud space. You don't have to be as concerned because they have a duty to you as a like as a SaaS provider. Um, but of course, just always being careful with like super sensitive information. But anything you would say on social media, probably okay to say to chat.
That's anything you're going to say on social media, you can probably feed into your chat bot. And don't forget that the purpose of social media is in part to be social, specifically on LinkedIn. I also like that bridge or towing the line between LinkedIn, Facebook, and Indeed.
It's like a Venn diagram, right? And everything doesn't fit in either space. But there's definitely success to be had, especially on LinkedIn for people that are trying to get in the faces of other people that do business.
You answered this a little bit, but somebody likes or comments on my posts. You said don't immediately jump in.
Respond to the comment, like respond within 24 hours, of course, but build a rapport, comment on some of their stuff, like some of their stuff. Put it in the front of your mind or on your leads spreadsheet, since we're tracking our analytics, of like, this might be a person that I could reach out to. You get this on Sales Nav if you want to upgrade to the ultimate LinkedIn experience. But just at the professional level, you get enough contact information because like everyone that you interact with isn't a true lead. So you'll start to see these names pop up over and over again. You can be like, okay, it's time. I see that you've been liking this information on how to make content that stops people from scrolling. Here's 3 steps, and you send them over a visual. Whatever the case is for you, but that's kinda how I try to use it as a way to create a social relationship. Or I'll talk about, like, how their job and my job overlap and, like, how something they said made me think about something I do.
And are you doing that via direct message?
Mhm,
So that's where I think a lot of advisors, people in a business development role, gosh, we don't want to be the pushy DMs people because we all get them. I have plenty
mhm.
in my inbox right now, and I work in sales, so I always try to politely respond. But how do you avoid sounding pushy in DMs? Is it the organic nature of the engagement that you're talking about? And
Yeah, you're talking about them. You talk about the person you're reaching out to, not about yourself. People don't really like to talk about anyone but themselves, right? So if you give them an opportunity to do so, whether it's that they posted about their garden, that they went to an event that you wish you'd been at, whatever the case is, don't lead with "I'm Sydney from Insurance Brand Builder."
so Saw that you liked X. I also like X. X by X being some type of amorphous idea or concept
Yeah, yeah.
or game. I have another one. So I identify, or an advisor, I'll speak for an advisor. Advisor identifies a client that they really would like to work with via LinkedIn.
Okay.
When you connect, you have the option to share a note or a message. Sometimes those DMs that I get from new connections are the most pushy, or dare I say even thirsty. So is that almost the equivalent of a cold call, and you're just sort of throwing it out there and seeing if it works versus using your LinkedIn presence to draw that individual in and then connecting?
Yeah, that's what I do. Yeah, I don't DM based off of our first connection. If I connect with you, I just send the connection. And then if it seems like you're actually interested in the things I'm talking about, then I will bother to reach out. And even still, I don't do that off of your first interaction because then it's really clear that I'm using you as prey. So, yeah, taking that time, like I said, actually interacting on any posts that they have, if they have any, that's kind of the tricky part. Maybe researching their company if it's someone you really care about, this sort of thing, and just starting to align yourself with them so that when you do reach out, it makes sense.
That's great. And I think sounds like some of this is business to business, but it could be really easily transferred into individual client acquisition. But I'm also thinking that this episode will resonate with some of our larger agencies that also are working in agent recruitment, because I get agent recruitment DMs. This could be a great way to get more agents into your agency, but find agents that you really want to work with and that you know are going to deliver.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, and being able to look through their own LinkedIn, right? And figure out if this is something they're already using because that shows that they're serious about growing in a way that isn't old-fashioned and that's going to move forward rapidly and in a way that I would say a lot of people, if they would put in the effort to make their LinkedIn substantial that they almost can't scale and take care of. Like very quickly, you're going to see that you actually need some help and you're probably going to need someone to come in and make more content that grabs attention for you in a different way, right? Or in a more professional way. Because as you start to build that following, the selfie, while it's great, probably needs to be polished up a little bit or, we need to think about the activities we're showing in our picture and how it aligns with the interests of our target audience. And this is kind of what we can think about with recruiting agents is like, what is that agent's pain point? I would imagine it's they want good leads that get them, in the door right away with less of their time and better pay. So what does that look like? It looks like more free time. It looks like they can go on vacations. It looks like less stress. It looks like support and fulfillment in their career. So those are the things you start to sell. And by sell, I mean make posts about.
Likewise, from advisor for client acquisition,
Mhm.
what are three things you're concerned about? Taxes, social security maximization, market volatility, post accordingly, and then relative to the feedback loop that you create with your AI of choice relative to the personas you're looking for. You're saying that from there we can potentially find well, not potentially, we can most likely find the posts that will most likely resonate. 4 posts a week is a fair number, correct?
Yeah, and I would say also putting up thoughts that aren't inflammatorily controversial, but that just might get people talking in the comments, like quiet quitting or remote work. Like these are all kind of topics that the algorithm pushes up and that will get your viewership interested. And so then once someone has an oppositional comment, that's great. We don't want to stop that. We don't need everyone to agree and we don't need everyone to like what you have to say because it gives you an opportunity to respond to that comment with grace and professionalism and show just what a star you are and how much you believe in the thing you're saying.
I find somebody I want to work with. I think you've outlined this, Sydney, and we appreciate it. But hey, thank you for engaging with my post. I recently created this resource, what you mentioned, be the tax guide, or, these are the type of leads we provide. If it's agent
Mm.
recruitment, let's have a conversation. Here's a link to my calendar. Intentionality with the calendar too, right? Like one of the things that we were just talking about in a meeting this morning is intentionality with scheduling. With these calendar links, there's no need to go back and forth. Hey, Tuesday, Thursday, Wednesday, right? Here's my
Yeah.
calendar link. There's no excuse for you to find a time accordingly in that social media transaction. Sydney, we're almost done on time insofar as my guest last week told me there was a 70% drop off rate as soon as I exceed 35 to 30 to 35 minutes. What are Sydney's top 3 things to do in the next week in terms of moving the ball forward on LinkedIn?
I would say refresh your headline and banner. Make sure that your headline directly states a pain point and your target audience by name, not just I provide insurance solutions. Whatever your clients are actually looking for, say up front. Comment with intent on 5 posts a day if you can, but making sure that you're getting a couple out, especially before your posts go out, so that the algorithm is primed for you. And then add a CTA to your about section. And that could be go ahead and click my Calendly link and schedule a time to go over your LinkedIn together. And maybe this is one of the free values that it's one of the things I do for my clients. But, just a little free sit down where you can get a chance to show your expertise and build that relationship and show that you're there for them.
This has been a great conversation about lead generation on LinkedIn. Sydney, any final pieces of advice before we call it a day? And this has been really helpful. I certainly have some ideas about how I'm going to engage differently on LinkedIn, and maybe you wouldn't mind ripping apart my profile at some point in the future.
Yeah, it would be my pleasure. I think that my final piece of advice would be to stop selling your product and to start selling the benefits of having a relationship with you. So shift the conversation from policies or advisement to your value, right? And making sure that it's clear how you affect your clients' lives and how you improve them because you're there, and how no one else can do this but you.
Sydney, thank you so much for being on In Good Order
My
today.
pleasure.
We might have to have you come back since I instituted this new 30 to 35-minute rule, and I think there's more to talk about. But listeners, thank you so much for being on In Good Order. Like, listen, and subscribe. Watch us on YouTube. If you have another colleague in the financial professional space, don't keep us a secret. Please share it if you found value in today's episode or past episodes. With that in mind, we covered today with Sydney Cullen Lawrence from Insurance Brand Builder how to turn LinkedIn into a lead engine. Don't forget again to like and subscribe to In Good Order, where we're going to continue to find smarter systems, clearer strategies, and long-term growth to help you scale with clarity and confidence. Thank you, Sydney.
My pleasure.